It's my pleasure this morning to introduce our speaker, Samantha Ribb. Samantha is a senior digital strategist at Adventure Web Interactive. She's experienced in digital marketing, ranging from in-house client-side marketing to the niche industry agencies working with special advertising restrictions. Samantha's skills include SEO, paid advertising, social media management, e-commerce, omni-channel digital strategy. She's certified in Google AdWords, Google Analytics, Bing, advertising, and WordPress. Samantha enjoys serving local businesses and helping her fellow Marylanders meet their goals. She was born and raised in Baltimore, but has a goal of visiting all 63 U.S. national parks in your spare time.
What little of it there is.
There you go. So thank you for presenting today, and I'll turn it over to you.
Great, thank you so much. Really appreciate the opportunity to do this and to really help my community grow and to sharpen my own skills. So again, thank you so much everyone for being here. I'm going to go ahead and present. Can everyone see my screen?
Perfect, yep.
Great. So by the end of this presentation, I hope that you will have an understanding of how and why blogging and other forms of content marketing are the most effective and cost-effective way to attract traffic to your website. Please hold all your questions to the end, as some of these concepts will build upon each other. What does SEO stand for? SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. Blogging is actually a shortened form of the word weblog. It's similar to an online journal or an online magazine where you can share your thoughts, products, ideas, and services with your target audience. There's a lot of misconceptions about blogging. A lot of people think that it is more of kind of like a lifestyle influencer thing or a traveling influencer thing, but it's not. It is an absolutely terrific way for any business or brand to share their brand with the public. So how we use it is that people will use search engines to search for your terms. So search for things that you offer or that you do, and then your site is in the search engine results, which is that list that pops up after you type in your keywords into the search engine bar. People click through and it goes to your website, which is how you get organic website traffic. Want to manage our expectations here that this is a long-term strategy. This is not something that you should expect to see immediate results from. Again, our goal here is to attract more traffic to your website. Attracting organic traffic to your website is the most cost-effective method of increasing brand awareness. Again, I will talk in future slides about the difference between organic and paid traffic. SEO is the art and science of persuading search engines such as Google, Bing, and Yahoo to recommend your content to their users as the best solutions to their problems. So when someone is searching for something, they're presenting their problem, they're presenting their pain point. And your goal is to have Google tell that person that your website is going to be the solution to that problem that they have. There are so many different search engines globally. For the purpose of this presentation, we're going to just talk about Google. And the reason for that is that Google has the monopoly on search engines. 88% of all desktop searches are performed using Google. And then when we talk about mobile searches on your smartphone, that number jumps from 88 to 96%, which is one of the main reasons that Google is taking a mobile first approach in all of their algorithms and their different tactics. The other two bigger named search engines are Bing and Yahoo. Bing is owned by Microsoft, so it is a good search engine to pay attention to. But Bing and Yahoo combined only account for about 8% of desktop searches and 1.5% of mobile searches. So it's not something that I would suggest spending your time and energy on. The goal here is to match user intent to your content. Google's goal is to find the solution to the problem the searcher is presenting. Sometimes this problem is presented in a vague or incomplete manner, making it necessary for the algorithm to interpret the user's intent. Algorithm crawls the web to find the website with the most meritorious, relevant, reliable content that most closely matches the search query. That is the core concept of all SEO strategies, matching user intent with your content. Any content that you put on your website should be specifically designed to convince Google that yours is the most appropriate and should be presented to the searchers. An example of an incomplete or a vague intent would be if someone were to type into Google washing machines. They're searching for washing machines. That's not very specific. Google doesn't know exactly what about washing machines that they want. So they're going to use previous signals from that searcher to determine what they want. Things like their location, things they've searched for before, other websites they visited, and even videos and television that they've been watching. That's why it's important to have fresh quality content so that even if the searcher is vague, that Google is still going to give you an improved chance of recommending your site because they view it as reliable and trustworthy. As I said, we're going to talk about the difference between organic and paid. So paid marketing, SEM and PPC, SEM is search engine marketing and PPC is pay per click. So that is flat out paid advertising. You can tell the difference between a paid ad and an organic search result, as we see right here on this side on the left. The top three and the bottom three on any search engine results page, or SERP, is going to be an ad. You can tell because it'll have the little ad icon in the top left of the search result. The ones under that are going to be the organic results. Those are free. And they cannot be influenced by any amount of budget. Good and bad things about paid search is that it does generate instant results. So you will start to see traffic immediately. It accommodates pretty much any size ad budget, depending on the search engine that they're using. And it does help kind of gather some data for which keywords to target when it comes to your SEO strategy. You can go into your ad platform, see which keywords are performing well, which are not performing well, and then use that information to make educated decisions about which keywords to target and which topics to talk about on your webpage. Paid advertising also attracts buyers who are ready, they're ready to buy. They're actively searching for exactly this product. Organic is what we do when it comes to the search engine optimization. They're the unpaid search engine results that cannot be influenced by budget or paid ad. Multiple factors influence page rank, or the position of the page, position of your search result on the page. The name of the system is actually PageRank. Google does not publish anything about PageRank. It doesn't publish how it's used or how it's implemented, just to kind of keep people from gaming the system. Pros of this is that it is a really good ROI. It's a great return on your investment because you're not paying anything up front. You're just simply doing what you do and being the quality business that you are. This also generates sustained results because that blog, once it goes onto your webpage, it lives there and it continues to attract traffic. It continues to attract buyers. It's that one-time thing, whereas an ad budget is going to be a recurring fee for the same ad monthly. When optimizing your content to attract traffic from Google, there's three main things that you want to know and consider. These are the things that Google considers when determining the merits of your site. Authority, relevance, and trust. So authority is going to be sites that are known for producing great content for a really long time. you can pretty much bet that any site that ends in .edu, .org, or .gov is going to be what Google considers as an authority. External links. So if lots of people are linking to your site, then again, Google is going to think that you are the authority on this. It's also a good idea as a site that's starting out to link from your site to these authoritative sites. That way, Google knows that your content is consistent with the authoritative content. When determining authority, Google also looks at the volume of your content, the quality of your content, and the proximity to the source. So is it first-person data? Are you the one that presented this? Are you the one that did the research? Or are you presenting other people's? The second thing is relevance. You want to make sure that the content on your website matches what you're telling Google should be there. So if you have a web page that's supposed to be about washing machines and everything on it is about lawnmowers, Google is going to see that you probably don't really know what you're talking about and that it's not relevant to a searcher who's searching for washing machines, even though the title of your website might be washing machines. And again, you want to make sure that you're linking to other sites that have the same type of content. If you're talking about washing machines in a blog and you link to a site that is not about washing machines, it's going to signal Google that you're not really consistent. The third thing is trust. A couple ways to establish trust is to link your socials. So link your Facebook, your Instagram, your Pinterest, LinkedIn, any different type of social that you use so that you're seeing, or Google is seeing, the same types of content and the same topics across all your platforms, which signals that they can trust you. Trust is more about what you don't do than what you do. So if you're doing things that are designed to circumvent the system and to circumvent policies, Google's going to ding you for that. They're not going to show you in search results, and they may even completely shun your page when it comes to search results. Same thing goes with other sites that you're linking to. You're guilty by association. So if you're linking to sites that do these less than above board things, Google is going to ding you for that and probably not even present your content. A lot of the factors that we talk about, like trustworthiness or authority, are going to be long-term things. It's gonna take a little bit of time for your website or your business to establish the authority and to establish the trust. So again, this is one of the things that we want to keep in mind when we're looking at our results. Google recommends content, like I said, that is relevant, trustworthy, and consumable. So relevance in content is, we want to make sure that we're matching the searcher with content that most closely matches their search inquiry, as the algorithm understood the intent of the search. So again, this goes back to why we want to make sure that we have fresh quality content so that Google shows your content in a more wide range of searches. Trustworthiness, established people and brands with a history of credibility and consistency in the production of their content on the web. These again are people that are consistently posting. They're consistently posting relevant data to what their searchers are looking for. They're consistently posting accurate data. And they're brands or people that have been around for a long time. Consumability, I don't really love that word, but it is the word that Google uses, so we'll use it. This is about user experience. It is the key to this metric. How easy is it for people to navigate your site? Is your site speedy? Is it slow? Does it take a long time to load? Is it disorganized? Is it all over the place? Do you have multiple different formats of content on your site? These all lead to the consumability or the user experience, and it does affect your SEO ranking. The technology that Google uses when it comes to SEO, again, they're extremely tight-lipped about it. The machine learning itself is called PageRank. It's a system used by Google Search to rank web pages in their own search results pages. It's a way of measuring the merits and the suitability of a given website. Google remains extremely tight-lipped about it. They always have. I expect them always to be that way. They make general statements about the effectiveness and the rigorous testing that they do, the human quality raters. But again, they don't talk about the specific technology to keep people from finding a workaround or to cheat the system, basically. The algorithms that you hear people talk about when it comes to Google, it's updated daily and it does change or adjust 200 times a day. That is to accommodate search volume and trends. So again, this just goes back to why we need to have consistent, fresh content. Only major updates are going to affect the ranking of your site. Google always, well, I won't say always, Google almost always announces their major updates, and they always have a name like penguin or hummingbird or panda, I think was the most recent one. But they always announce them via Twitter, and the handle to check that is @searchliaison. Definitely keep an eye on that. They post any other type of outages and issues that Google's having throughout the day there. All of the major updates, again, are going to be aimed at reducing the impact of cheating by some brands or sites. Each update will target a specific area, like link quality or content quality. On-page technical SEO systems. Lots of people use things, they're called content distribution networks, so CDNs. If you are building your site in GoDaddy or WordPress, Blogspot, Bluehost, anything like that, that's going to be a content distribution network. And a lot of the things that are on this list, you really aren't going to have to implement yourself, but it's good to know that they exist so that if it ever comes down to troubleshooting why your traffic is down, or if you have a marketer or a marketing agency, you can speak to them intelligently. The first thing is page speed. You want to make sure that your page loads quickly, even if there's a slow internet connection. A high bounce rate will negatively affect your rankings. The bounce rate is if someone visits your page and then immediately clicks off, or they immediately click to different links that you have on your page. Again, mobile friendliness. The Google index is mobile first. I cannot stress enough how mobile friendly your site has to be. It's a huge impact on your ratings and your rankings, And if your site is not mobile friendly, you're not going to do well in the rankings. Code quality. Again, so many people use WordPress and different content distribution networks. So this really isn't going to be something you're going to need to concern yourself with. But if you're talking to someone else about working on your site or building your site, it's important to know that code quality does matter. Google understands some coding languages better than others. For example, HTML is preferred over Java, but Google does understand all of them. Security is paramount as well. You want to make sure your site has a secure connection or an SSL certificate. It's a secure socket layer certificate. Sites without a secure socket layer certificate are going to be completely shunned by search engine results. If someone were to directly go to your website through a direct search, for example, they search your brand name, a warning will come up from Google saying, hey, this site's not secure. Are you sure you want to go? And that is a huge deterrent for anybody searching for your site. So want to make sure that that is up to date. Again, you can get those SSL certificates through your content distribution network. Again, schema. It's super important, but it's super technical, and it's definitely something you want to make sure gets taken care of. But again, use your CDN for this. It is the way that your content is explained to Google so that it can easily and quickly understand. It's very influential in ranking decisions by Google. If you've ever seen the movie Avatar, they have the people that ride those really big flying dragon things and they have their tail that kind of like hooks into the person or the animal to make sure that they're connected and they have the same mind. You can think of schema as kind of that connection between your website and Google to make sure that they're thinking with the same mind. Content SEO. So blogs and the different content that's on your website. Titles are very important, and headings are very important when it comes to Google. Again, when you're using your CDN, so when you're using Blogspot or WordPress, there are fields in those platforms where you can put the heading, you can put meta titles, which are smaller, not seen titles that, again, signal to Google that this is what this particular piece of content is about. The actual copy of the content is also important. You want to make sure that it's quality content, not that you just have a whole bunch of posts or entries. We want to make sure that our content is accurate, credible, and that it does benefit the user in the context of the search. So we don't want to keep it super surface layer, but you do want to make sure that you're not completely losing people. Internal linking is important in your content. It helps Google navigate your site and gets users to the destination in the quickest way possible. Internal linking would be if you have a blog about plumbing and the best ways to do a certain task, you would link in that piece of content to your plumbing services page on your web page. Just so that Google, again, sees that you are the authority on what you're talking about, and it helps Google verify that this piece of content is relevant to your website. We want to have fresh content, regular, consistent updates, signals to Google that your information is timely, it's up to date. Outbound links, like we talked about a little bit earlier, links to authoritative and relevant sources. It will reinforce the credibility of your content. If your content is consistent with a source that Google believes is authoritative, it's going to be more likely to recommend your particular piece of content. Ways to write great content. Bill Gates said it best, content is king. The better the content, the higher you will rank on search engine results pages. Great writing is proper grammar and spelling, proper punctuation. This is so important. It's important to Google, and it's important for the credibility of your brand. No keyword stuffing. Keyword stuffing is when you are using a particular keyword way too many times in a given piece of content. You can tell because it doesn't make sense. You can tell that it's just kind of thrown in there, and Google knows. Google knows everything. Relevancy. You want to focus on the user intent and make sure that you're staying consistent with what your post is supposed to be about. If your heading is about lawnmowers and you are somehow talking about weed whackers by the end of the post, it's not super consistent. And we want to make sure that we're posting content in different posts that are all consistent with the same topic and consistent with the services or the products that your business offers. Search terms, keyword research. Keyword research is its own animal. I could talk for an hour just on keyword research. Again, we talk about the using keywords in ads and then using that reporting data to build your content. If you don't have that luxury, you can ask your salespeople, you can ask customers, you can ask your people in the field or the people answering your phones. What are people asking when they call? What are they talking about? What kind of questions do you hear people ask the most? And that will help you figure out what you should be offering and what type of value that your clients are looking for. There are so many different formats when it comes to content. We as just general content consumers consume all of this all the time. The main foundation here, the base of what you want to do is blogs, just like this is about. You can target specific geographic areas if you are looking to gain clients in a particular area, or if you only serve a particular area, you can target that by using those geographic area keywords throughout your posts. You want to post relevant topics that are useful to your target audience. Webinars are another really good way to get people interested and to experience some sort of value, which is what we're all doing right now. You can see that people do find value in these types of things. How-to guides, so blogs that talk about how to do things with steps. Again, if you're posting how-to guides, Google will see you as an authority on what you're talking about. And it'll keep people on your page longer because they're going to be reading that post. And when it comes to credibility, if the length of the session or the length of the time that people are on your page signals to Google that people are actually reading what you have to say. I heard earlier that you guys have talked about video already, so I'm so glad to hear that everyone knows the importance of video. But in case we have new friends here, I'll just briefly touch on that. Video is so important. Google is really pushing video content in their search results, and a lot of that is because Google does own YouTube. There are other ways to push video content though. Instagram Reels, TikTok, Facebook Watch. I'm sure there's some that I'm forgetting, but those are the main ones. Another really fun way that I actually like is infographics, because you can really build your own, you can build your brand into it. So even if people are just briefly looking at these infographics, or if they download them or share them on social media, it's a great way to get your name out there. These are images that have different bits of information and percentages and just little pieces of information that are valuable to the person seeing it. Again, these are very often shared on social media, so it's a really good strategy for that. Any type of creative content you push out using your website, blogs, webinars, how-to guides, YouTube videos, anything. You want to aggregate to all of your social media channels. And that means if you post a blog on your website, you want to share it on your Facebook, on your LinkedIn, on your Google My Business listing. The same thing would go if you have a YouTube video that you spent a really good amount of time on and you spent a lot of effort on and it looks great. You want to put that on your other socials. You want to put that in your blog on your website. This goes to that trust factor and the consistency factor. So if Google is seeing similar information or similar content across all of your platforms, it's going to really build that trust. And like I talked about briefly, keyword research and a lot of these other types of skills are just complete courses in their own. So here are the 4 top resources that I use and that I recommend that my family and friends use when learning these types of skills. ahrefs.com is amazing. I use it every day. It is a great tool for keyword research and for tracking the rank of your site in search results pages. There is a paid option and there is a free option. So if you are really serious about it and you want to get into it very heavily, I believe the paid option is $99 a month, I think is what I pay. But the free option works well as well. SearchEngineJournal.com. If you are serious about staying in contact with the industry and knowing all of the different things that go on, SearchEngineJournal.com is an amazing blog to subscribe to. They send out articles every day. I start my day every day by reading an article on there. They're always timely. They have a lot of different tutorials and how-tos. Definitely recommend subscribing. Spyfood.com is really good for keyword research as well. Again, free option and a paid option. You can even use SpyFu to see what types of keywords your competitors are ranking for. So you could type in the domain of your competitor and it'll show what keywords they're targeting. So you can kind of bounce off of what your competitors are doing. Wordstream.com. Same thing as Search Engine Journal. Very authoritative, very timely, very consistent. They send out articles all the time with tutorials and how-tos. They offer free webinars. Definitely recommend subscribing to wordstream.com. And now I would love to take any questions that you guys have, or if you want me to elaborate on anything, please let me know.